On Friday, October 26th, NBC invites you to an all-new Halloween event. The Munster family is moving in.
Cover yourself. What will the neighbors think?
The neighbors should be more concerned with what I'm thinking.
For an entirely new experience.
My grandpa's gonna eat you.
Kids.
Mockingbird Lane, the Friday before Halloween.
I was so intrigued by it because it read like a movie script, and I couldn't quite understand how they were going to shrink all the special effects and all the crazy scenes into a television show. Bryan Fuller took the concept of the original show, The Munsters, and created this world in Mockingbird Lane that has never before existed on television. It's so unique and exciting and rich. These characters are kind of larger than life, and yet they're all so relatable and so human in a way. Yes, things do get killed and eaten, but in a fun way. We're all kind of, as a culture, fascinated with subhuman, superhuman, werewolf-type characters, vampires, because they have certain strengths and powers that we could never imagine having and don't have. But the thing that weakens vampires is love. And for Lily, she has definitely been humanized by these feelings of deep, deep love for her son. And that's kind of what really sinks it into reality, is that we can all feel kind of slightly weakened when we feel so vulnerable, when we love that much. And Herman literally loves so hard that his heart breaks and he needs a new heart all the time. I mean, it's a hard thing for any family to go through. Son, you're a werewolf.
I've been a fan of the Munsters since I was watching television. So for me, this was the opportunity to do a show about a family, but they also happen to be monsters. So that was one of the things that I thought was so important to this reimagining, is to be able to see the monsters in a way where they are actually functioning as monsters. Because in the original, they were a family that looked like monsters, but they didn't behave like monsters. And for us, they look less like monsters, but they behave more like monsters.
There's the same cast of characters. There's Herman, the patriarch, who's Frankenstein, essentially. There's Lily, who is a vampire. Her father, Grandpa, who is basically Count Dracula, or we refer to him as D. And little Eddie Munster, who's somewhat of a werewolf. And Marilyn, who's the only misfortunate normal in the family.
For Grandpa, we really wanted to take the essence of what they did with the original, which was they based their grandpa on Bela Lugosi and Todd Browning's Dracula. What we kind of did with our version is base our Dracula on Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Lily is the daughter of Dracula, and she has a very special relationship with her father. They both share the same bloodlust. The difference is that Lily is very conscious of being a mother and doesn't want to kind of freak out her kids or her child and other members of the neighborhood, while Grandpa's kind of really desiring to recapture the way things used to be. So she's very much in love with Herman, but in a way she's kind of, she's married someone, I don't want to say beneath her, but kind of.
Well, beneath her applies because he was actually 6 foot in the ground beneath, so that is appropriate.
And Grandpa's constantly, reassembling Herman to keep him alive.
The sweet thing about Herman is he is a character who is in a constant state of decay, married to a woman who doesn't age. So that has a certain amount of insecurities that go with that territory. So what we have in their relationship that's special is him essentially being built for her, and he is in service of her, so that that metaphor of the father-in-law who creates a man for his daughter, we really carry through literally, and Grandpa sewn pieces of dead flesh together to create the perfect man for his daughter.
That's the reason we titled the show Mockingbird Lane. It's not necessarily a remake of The Munsters. It's a show that has been inspired by The Munsters.
Firstly, Eddie Izzard playing Grandpa is, he's hysterical, and he's also a different take on the Grandpa character. His name is D. We call him D, which is short for Dracul. Bryan Fuller's shows are huge, they're colorful, they're eye candy, they're deep. His characters are rich, and there's just no other person that should have taken this project on than Bryan Fuller. He's a master. As you can see, I don't have the raised forehead. We did go with some scars here, like my head was attached. I have to unzip my heart and show Lily, my wife, played by the very lovely and talented Portia de Rossi. I have to show her my heart. And this is blue screen. They'll put computer-generated stuff in there. I mean, it's pretty gruesome, as you can see. While it is an homage to the original, I think it's going to be very enjoyable for people who don't know the original. I'm just trying to assimilate in this suburban life and try and be as normal as possible, and let's stop eating our neighbors, and let's stop going about our Munster ways. And Eddie Izzard, Grandpa, wants nothing to do with that. He's very proud to be a Munster, and he wants everyone to know that he is a Munster. Eddie, my son, who I care very much about, is starting to go through puberty, and with that comes turning into a werewolf. And he's, growing hair in strange places. It's just brilliant what Bryan Fuller has done. It's sort of an allegory to young men going through changes in their lives, only this young man happens to be becoming a werewolf.
I am the patriarch of the family. It is my family. They are my pawns, really. The family I see as my foot soldiers in my mission to destroy all humanity. It's a family show. It's about family values the other way around, because I'm trying to kill everyone. Eddie has turned out to be a werewolf, so I'm quite pleased about this. Very pleased, really, because you can't do much with humans. Humans are really a waste of space. I have a very ambivalent attitude towards my son-in-law, Herman, who I have made for my daughter, for Lily, and he sort of works a bit too much like a human. His heart feels too much, and I don't like this attitude in him. I don't like the fact that he is sentimental. I don't like any of that. It is imaginative, it is dark, it is dramatic and twisted and offbeat and funny, but weird funny. We could learn about humanity by learning about monsters.